Hi there. What we're going to be working on in this video is how to solve inequalities. So before we actually start solving the inequalities, we want to look at some of the symbols that we'll be using. So you're probably familiar with most of these, but I do want to make sure. So the first symbol we have here is the symbol for greater than. Okay. When we're graphing these on a number line, like you can see right down here, that's going to be an open circle because it'll indicate that part of the solution goes up to a number but doesn't include that number. And I'll get into that in a moment. When we indicate our solution using interval notation, this will be shown with an open parenthesis. Okay, the next symbol, it kind of looks like an L, like a little wonky L, right? So that's the less than symbol. That will also be indicated with an open circle on our number line. And it will also look like a parenthesis on our interval notation, okay? And again, I'm going to put this all together in a moment, so let's just get this down. The next symbol, if you notice, we have greater than or equal to. Okay, so greater than or equal to. So that's going to be a closed circle on our number line, indicating that a particular number is part of our solution. And when we express our solution set with interval notation, we will put a bracket on that number, not a parenthesis. And our last symbol is less than or equal to. And again, you see that it kind of looks like an L. So less than or equal to. And again, that will be another closed circle on the number line, and that will be a bracket, okay, on this side. So let's take a look. We'll do a couple of simple examples here and hopefully start to put this all together. So the first example I have for you, we have to write everything in words and then graph it on the number line and then put it into interval notation. So in words, we would say x is less than 5. Okay, x is less than 5. And if you think about it, if this is our number line and we had a 5 right here, we just said if it's a less than symbol, we have to show 5 is not included. So we would put an open circle on 5 and think about where are the numbers that are less than 5? Well, 4, 3, 2.5. They're this way on our number line. So we will graph it showing that these numbers all the way to the left are part of that solution. When we put this into interval notation, we always write our interval notation as the low number, comma, the high number. So as we're going left forever and ever and ever, we're going as low as negative infinity. And that's the symbol for infinity. And with the negative in front means negative infinity. And we're going up to, but not including the 5. So 4.9999999 forever. And so we put that parenthesis on the 5, showing that 5 is not part of our solution. I actually want us to jump down to the third one here because it looks almost the same, except for that. This one is x is less than or equal to 5. And I want you to see how these are slightly different. Because the 5 is included in our solution, when we put the 5 on our number line, it will be a closed circle. Now, it's still going to the left because it's still less than 5, so it's still going to go to the left. When we write this in interval notation, we will still go from negative infinity to 5. But to indicate that the 5 is part of the solution now, we will put a bracket on that 5. So it's 5 and all of the numbers smaller than 5. Let's go back up here. This one says x is greater than 5. X is greater than 5. So hopefully you're thinking, oh, that means that we're going to have an open circle on our 5. I like to do the different colors. Open circle on 5. And the numbers that are greater than 5 are to the right. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 100, 1,000,000. So to show this in interval notation, the lowest number is 5, but not including 5. So we put that parenthesis, and then it's going to positive infinity, and we always put a parenthesis on the infinities. Okay? So these two are sort of related to each other, right? So this one says x is greater than or equal to 5. So once again, when it says equal to, we will have a closed circle on that number to indicate that it's part of the solution. And again, greater than, the number is going to go to the right, the arrow's to the right. To show this, once again, our low number, whoops, I did the wrong thing. Our low number, that should have been a bracket. Okay, our low number is 5, and it is included in our solution, and our solution goes up to infinity. Okay, so that's the notation that we'll be using. Looking down here, I want to just remind you, when we're solving inequalities that use multiplication and division, it's just like solving equations, except for one little thing that we have to remember. And that is when we multiply or divide an inequality by a negative number, we must reverse the inequality symbol. Okay, we must reverse the inequality symbol. And I do have an example of that on the next page. Okay, that's really the only difference between solving equations and inequalities. We'll get a range of answers with inequalities, but we also have to just reverse the symbol when we multiply or divide by a negative. So let's go ahead and let's take a look. Notice we're asking you to solve it and graph it on the number line and express it using interval notation. So a little bit of everything. So let's take a look. To solve this inequality, we are going to solve it just like an equation. So we'll subtract 9 from each side. We get 5h is greater than 44 minus 9 gives us 35. And then we're dividing by positive 5, so no need to flip anything over. We get h is greater than 7. So that's called set builder notation, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to graph this on our number line. And the only number I really care about is 7. It says h is bigger than 7, so it will be an open circle showing that 7 is not part of our solution, and arrow to the right because that's where the numbers are bigger than 7. Now, in terms of interval notation, again, because the 7 is not included, we will have an open parenthesis on 7, and it will go to infinity. All of those numbers between 7 and infinity, not including 7, will be part of our solution. Okay, let's jump over to the next one. Again, we're going to start solving it as we always do. We're going to add the 12 to each side. We get negative 3x is less than or equal to 45. And at this point, we're going to divide by negative 3. And why am I saying it like that? Because when we divide by a negative, we have to reverse this symbol. So this symbol will become greater than or equal to. So we get x is greater than or equal to negative 15. Okay, so because we divided by a negative, we reverse the symbol. Let's take a look on a number line. Here we go. Again, the only number I care about is negative 15 on this number line. Because it's greater than or equal to, we will close the circle on 15, showing that that's part of the solution, and the bigger numbers are to the right. So interval notation, hopefully you're remembering, that would be a bracket, and we're going from negative 15 to infinity, and we'll close that up. So hopefully this was helpful. Have a wonderful day.